So nice to see you. It's already time to be getting started here. So if you are just logging in, I would love to see your face on camera. Also, please feel free to add your resolution to the chat. We're excited to hear what you have to share with us. And as always, we have a super busy day. So we are going to go ahead and get started with the webinar for today. So first of all, welcome back. Amy and I are very happy to be here with you our first week back in the new year. Thanks for sharing your resolutions, those of you who have already done that. And if you haven't, we'd still love to hear them. So I know you've seen this timeline before. We are currently on webinar number 3, and after today's webinar, we have our second full day training session at the beginning of February. So that's February 2nd through 3rd. And then we'll of course send reminders for all of these things, but I just wanted to reorient you to the schedule as we get back into the swing of things after the holidays. So we are going to be using Annotate as we've done in previous webinars. So let's just make sure that it's working for everybody. At the top of your screen, you want to select from your toolbar, View Options, and then select Annotate. And then go ahead and try out either the stamp or the draw feature, and you can just draw on my screen. If you're having any issues, go ahead and let us know in the chat, and we'll see if we can help you. Great. Hello, love the hearts and the smiley faces. Okay, it looks like it's working. Great. Don't turn your Annotate off yet, but I am going to clear the drawings for all of you. And I'm going to have you participate in this warm-up activity. Let me clear those again. And now that we're sure that our Annotate is working, let's do a quick warm-up. How are you feeling today? We're going to do this mood meter to check in with you. So again, go ahead and use those Annotate tools to mark how you're feeling. Looks like so far we're getting a lot of answers in the yellow side. Couple of energized and focused, tired and some sleepy, sure, content, grateful and blessed. Oh, this is wonderful. I'm seeing lots of positive feelings today, but you know, I do want to recognize that I know after the holidays, there can be a lot of emotions. So, you know, I can see that a lot of us are feeling in that yellow and green side of the spectrum here, feeling some positive feelings. If you're feeling tired or having a little bit of trouble focusing today, that's okay. Thank you for being here. And I honor your feelings no matter where you are on this spectrum. And I just encourage everyone to hold in the center of your minds why you're here for our webinar. And we'll really take the time to honor this hour that we have together to learn and to network with each other. So thank you for sharing your feelings. I'm going to go ahead and clear your drawings. And let's take a look at today's objectives. So today we're going to spend about half of the webinar focusing on your improvement projects. I know that you're starting to conceptualize your projects. We asked you to do some thinking around them in preparation for the webinar today. So we'll do a brief reminder of what a project is, and then you'll go into breakout rooms to discuss your project ideas with your colleagues. In the second half of the webinar, we're going to discuss how to run an effective meeting. And again, you did some pre-reading to help you prepare for that topic today as well. And then we will wrap up and talk about next steps. So let's get started with our improvement projects. We asked you to bring 2 possible topics for your improvement projects and to be prepared to speak to the purpose and the rationale for choosing those projects. So if you wrote them down, please have those handy, and we're going to kind of focus our attention on those at this point. In the last webinar, we talked about what is a project, and I'm going to review these things quickly. And as I do so, I want you to go through a mental checklist to see if the ideas that you brought with today have the potential to include all of these components. I recognize and want to say that it's absolutely fine to not have these details figured out yet. But what I want you to be thinking about is if you will eventually be able to define these things for either of your project ideas if you choose to move forward with one of them. And if you won't be able to, then maybe it's a project that needs more thinking or it's not the right project at this time. So again, have this mental checklist as we go through this. So a project has a set of steps, carefully planned and designed actions to achieve a specific target. It includes beginning and ending dates. It establishes responsibilities. It delineates timelines and uses milestones to track progress. And it may also list deliverables. So again, think about your projects that you have in mind. If you don't have these things figured out today, that is totally fine, but can you see your project going in that direction? The other thing we want to remind you about is considering the scope of your project. And we talked about this in the last training as well. So let's review these things to help us identify if our project is the right size and scope. So first, is our project too big? You can ask yourself if this is something that's within the scope of your leadership to implement. And also you can ask yourself if it can be conducted in a 6-month time frame. If you answered no to these questions, your ideas might be too big. On the other hand, you don't want your leadership project to be too small either. So again, ask yourself, is this something that I can do by myself? If you answer yes to that question, it's too small. We want you to establish and lead a team for this project so that you can put all these leadership skills into practice that we've been talking about. And finally, remember that your project needs to be measurable. Ask yourself, how will I know if we've met our goal? Remember, we talked about those SMART objectives in our last training. You don't need to be able to write your SMART goal yet, but you should be able to see your project going in that direction, and being able to make your goal measurable is a large part of doing that. So make sure you can see it going that way as well. So that's just a reminder of some of the things we talked about in our previous training. I want to have all of you go ahead and grab those project improvement templates. You may already have it handy, which is great. If not, we are going to be adding that link to the portal in the chat so that you can access that at this time. So in just a little bit, I'm going to be sending you to breakout rooms to share your ideas for your projects. Each of you is going to have approximately 4 minutes to present your project ideas to others and to get feedback. In order to do this, we're going to ask you to look at handout number 1. So go ahead and grab handout number 1. On handout 1 and on the screen in front of you, you can see the questions that are there to help guide you as you share your project ideas with your breakout room team members. So the questions that you can use are, number 1, what are your 2 project ideas? Number 2, which of those 2 project ideas are you leaning toward? Number 3, what outcomes do you hope for as a result of this work? Number 4, what part of the plan or project are you worried about? And number 5, what aspect would you like feedback on? This last question can be particularly helpful since we have limited time in our breakout rooms today. So you can help point your group members to the area you want to focus on during that short discussion time that we have. So this is a really important one for you to think about as you share your ideas. So I want to give you a quick example of what sharing your project ideas will look like in breakout rooms. And so let's pretend that I'm now presenting my ideas to my group, and you're my group. So my 2 ideas are, first, to form an industry advisory group or workforce partnership group to discuss training needs. For example, maybe displaced workers, retraining, or other industry needs. So that's my first idea. Or my second idea is a process for training staff and teachers to offer engaging remote services and learning. Of those two ideas, I'm leaning toward the workforce advisory group. And what I'm hoping to get is representatives from both of the big hospitals in town and supply chain providers. But what I'm worried about is how to approach them to make it seem worth their while and how to engage them in this remote environment that most of us are working in. And finally, I'd like feedback on how others have initiated an advisory group and the role of the group. So once I share my initial ideas, then it would be my group members' turn to give me feedback or ask questions. And we want to give you a little support for as you think about this role of giving feedback. So as you're listening to each presenter, think about these 3 questions and offer them feedback and advice. And the 3 questions are, is the idea achievable? Is it measurable? And how can it be measurable? And what suggestions do you have? This is also a really good place to focus on what they requested in terms of feedback as well. So make sure you're paying attention to the specific question or comments that they're asking for you all to weigh in throughout this process as well. So let me remind you about what you're going to do when you go to your breakout rooms. The time, as I've said, is short. You're going to have about 16 minutes total. So in your room, each presenter will have about 4 minutes. That 4 minutes includes both time to share your ideas and to get feedback from the group. There will be a facilitator in your room to keep everyone on track and to make sure everyone has a chance to speak, so they can help you with timing, but you should also keep an eye on the time. And then remember that you have handout 1 to guide you as you share your ideas. So with that, we are going to get ready to send you to rooms. Are there any questions before we put you in your breakout rooms? Okay, Olga, are we ready to send to rooms?
We're ready.
Okay, let's go ahead.
All right, Hannah, I had sent you and Amy to the same room. So are you going to just bounce from room to room?
I might bounce. I don't want to overwhelm people with both me and Amy in the same room. So
Okay, that's fine.
I'll give people a chance to get started and then I'll bounce around.
Okay.
I just want to do a quick time check. So what time is
We have 15 minutes left in there, and it's 1:13 or 2:13.
1:13, and they have 15 minutes left. So
Yeah.
they'll be coming back at
30 or 1:30.
1:30. Okay. Just a little, little
I
slow.
think that'll work because you have like 4 minutes, like 2:34 was your time frame for this to.
Oh, good. Maybe my slides are just wrong. Let me look. Oh, perfect. Okay, that's great. My slide timing is just off here. Let me update that really quick so that
7 through 19 was will end at 2:34. So
okay, that's great. Oh, no, that's why. Well, let me see.
because they're going to come back and share or something.
Right. There's a debrief. Okay, that's okay. So I'll just have to go through this more quickly. I can do that. That's not a problem. Okay. And maybe I think they need the full time. Are there any groups of 4 or are they all groups of 3?
There are groups of 4, like room 2 is for room 4, and then room 6.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll give them the full time then because I don't want to cut anybody short.
And I didn't put Deborah by herself because I don't know if anybody else had talked to her about what we were going to do and she wasn't at our meeting. So I thought, I don't want to put her in a room if that's not going to work.
Good plan. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really good plan. Okay. You know what? I might not happen these then because there's facilitators in there. So I'll let them lead.
This is the only breakout room though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I think Amy's section is just information and a few annotates. So,
Okay.
and chats. Yep.
I don't know why I thought Amy was going to do a sample statement. Did she do it and I missed it?
I did the practice, like I gave an example of what they might present as their idea. And
Okay.
then we have a sample project plan that we're sharing on slide 18, but we're not going over it. There's no time. So we're just putting the link, I think, in the.
Right. I have that. I have that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Desmond. Desmond is going to be coming in, but where should I send him? Ugh.
Let me catch Desmond up and then let's put them in 2, do you think? Or 1, maybe.
Okay. 1.
Hi, Desmond.
Hello, are we in breakout rooms?
Yes, we are. They are sharing their project ideas. There's about 10 minutes left, so we're going to go ahead and move you into one of the rooms.
Okay.
Okay, let me reshare this. Olga, did you have a good holiday season?
I did.
Good. Did you get some time off?
Actually, yes, 2 weeks.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. I think we had like a week and a day and a half or something.
Has it been hard to come back or has the adjustment been okay?
Technically, yes, for the first part, and adjustment, okay, yes, because I kind of, even though it was hard, I was ready. I just needed something to do because that's what I do.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Yeah, I didn't really take extra time off and we only have the 24th and then yesterday off. So so besides the weekends that were in there, I didn't really have any additional time off, but I got to see my family, so that was really nice.
That's nice.
Mhm. How does the attendance look? I know we had heard a couple people weren't coming, but to most people, were there any surprises?
Robin mentioned that there were quite a few people missing. Let's see, Desmond came in. Patrice, I don't know if I saw her name after all or not.
Okay.
Joshua and Anna got here. I don't know if I saw Joshua. So there's still maybe 2 or 3 people not here.
Okay. Amy is asking, when do breakout rooms end?
Oh shoot, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So we still don't have the 5-minute.
No.
I'll announce when it's 5.
Okay. Amy says, I have 4 people and need 3 more minutes.
Like additional and in addition to the 6?
Yeah.
I don't think we can extend the time.
Yeah. I'll let her know.
That should be another feature that we recommend to Zoom, to be able to extend the time when Patrice Miller's coming in.
Okay, I'll let Patrice know they're in breakout rooms, and then we'll send to
room 4 or room 2.
Yeah, 2.
Okay.
Hi, Patrice.
Hello.
Hi, Happy New Year.
You too.
You doing okay?
No.
Oh, no.
I got things going everywhere. My son's school just called. He's sick. I'm just like, oh. No.
Oh.
But
Do you want to join a breakout room? Do you need a moment?
How long are we on here today? What, an hour?
We're here for an hour. Yep, they're in breakout rooms right now. We've got about 5 minutes left in those breakout rooms, and then everyone's going to be coming back.
Okay. I mean, I can sit and wait. It's up to you. I mean, I don't want to interrupt.
Do you want to just go into a room and listen? And
I can.
yeah,
It's fine. Like,
that way you can take a moment to breathe and maybe
I'll just turn my camera off.
Just
Okay.
send a message to the facilitator in there, and they'll understand.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. Hi, Deb. Deb, you're muted.
Muted me, I guess. We still have like 2 people that are trying to get done.
It looks like Amy needs more time too.
Yeah.
So we'll extend the time, but the rooms are set to close automatically. So people are gonna have to come back, and then we'll have to reopen the rooms, but we can do that.
Okay, I'll go back to my room. Thank you.
Yep. Olga, is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
So when they come back, how many minutes do you want me to send them back for? Excuse me.
Let's send them back for 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna hop into the other rooms to let them know.
Okay. You have about 3 minutes.
Okay, let me go fast.
I sent a message to the rooms and said, when you come back, we'll send you away for another 5 minutes. So, oh,
Okay, I told, well, I chatted Robin and Beth, and then Deb's room already knew and Amy's room knew. So we should be good. So we'll just
very
pull
good.
them back and reopen.
Okay. So when they come back and I'm setting the settings, then you'll just tell them you're going to send everybody back, or they should already know.
They should know, but I'll say it really quickly. I'll say, we're going to give you more time. You have 5 more minutes. Rooms are opening now.
Okay. So while you're saying that, I'll do the 5-minute thing. And
Okay, no problem.
we have about 45 seconds. Do you want me to just click on close all rooms now or wait? And I'll just wait because it may somebody might be mid-sentence or something.
Right. Yeah. Let's, are they going to close? Is it going to take them a minute to close, or are they going to?
10 seconds. Like after this 30 seconds is 10 seconds and they come back.
Okay, great. Yeah.
To wait too long. And sometimes it's good and bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just do the 10 seconds because a minute seems like an eternity if they're ready to come back.
Right. Agreed.
I don't know. It's like you said, it's either you could be good or it can be bad.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'll just say something really quick when they're back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. You are not staying here. We are just reopening the rooms for you. We want to give you a little bit more time to talk to your colleagues. We're going to reopen the rooms for 5 minutes. So Olga's just resetting the room and we will get you back in there.
Okay, everybody, here we go. Sorry, Hannah, you went.
No worries. I just quickly exited. Okay, let me look because Amy's going to want to know where we can go faster. So let me see. Oh. Olga, can you try and annotate again?
No, it's not available.
Oh, no. Okay.
Is it because Amy shared last? Amy annotated?
No, because I was sharing, but I think that I don't know why. Maybe a certain
Maybe
amount
because they're in breakout rooms right now and they're not here.
that could be, yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back. For real this time, we won't be sending you back to your breakout rooms at this point. Let's do a reflection of what you just talked about with your colleagues in the breakout rooms. So there's 2 chat questions for you. Feel free to unmute yourself if you would like to share, but I'd like to ask everybody to add their project idea to the chat, as well as how you've adjusted your project thinking today. I'll give you a minute to go ahead and write your answers in the chat. Thank you, Kashan, for getting us started. Intake orientation. Create 3 separate teams, recruitment, retention, and performance, says Todd. Okay, great. I'm starting to see some ideas coming in. Some GED modules for the spring semester. Creating a new pathway. Measuring course and instructor quality. Amanda says taking a look at their enrollment process, and their aha was when they realized the team will determine what things to change, not just Amanda. And Amy, if you see any coming in that you want to highlight, please feel free to unmute yourself as well. We have determined the most effective method of advertising our live registration dates. Great. All right, everyone, keep adding those ideas. We'd love to hear what you are leaning toward and how you've adjusted your thinking. And we can also come back to these as we continue to do our thinking around this. We're going to hear more about your project ideas. So we're excited to hear what direction you're leaning in. So We hope that this conversation has helped you get a little bit closer to settling on a topic idea. You are going to have more time to talk about these projects at our next session. So after today's webinar, here are some next steps for you. So you're going to choose a project title. You will create a SMART goal. You will think about what data you need to collect both pre and post meeting. You're going to start thinking about forming your project team and thinking about how you will let others know about your results. We have a resource for you in the Moodle. It's a sample project plan. Please take a look at it if it helps you. And this can be, again, a good resource for you as you start to develop your own plan. And here are some important dates coming up for you. You are going to complete your project planning assignment in that template and post it in the portal by January 21st. So that's the end of this month. It's just a couple of weeks away, so keep an eye on that. You are going to then create 3 slides on your project to share in a small group webinar in February. Each of the 3 slides, you'll have one slide that addresses the challenge, one slide that addresses the plan, and one slide that addresses the evaluation. And you will post those slides in the portal by February 11th. And then looking even further ahead, your final PowerPoint will be due April 8th, and your presentations will be on April 22nd. We will share this information with you in the portal as well, but we've added it to the chat too, so that you can take note of those things. Oops, sorry about that. And so with that, we are going to hand it over to Amy to talk about how to run a meeting. So Amy, whenever you're ready.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm going to, great. Can you all see my slide now? Excellent. All right. So as Hannah said, that was just the beginning of a conversation that we're going to be having with you about your ideas, helping you to refine them, both Hannah and I reading your plans in the portal and commenting, and then also when we meet in our small group. So I know that felt rushed. And there are a lot of questions there were in my group, and this is an evolving process to finding, settling on your improvement project plan. But we do know that because you'll be leading a team as part of your improvement project, chances are you're going to be leading meetings, whether they're virtual or in person. And so we really want to spend a little bit of time today focusing on some best practices for getting the most out of your meetings and providing you with some tools and resources. And you did do 2 pieces of pre-reading as part of our work today on running effective meetings. So just quickly in the annotate, how much time do you spend in meetings now? So do you spend at least a few hours every day, whether it's virtually or in person? On the left-hand side, are you in meetings a lot, or you don't meet that often? Go ahead and use your annotate and tell us on this, put your mark or your X where you are on this scale of meeting at least a few hours every day or not really that often. The annotate option's not showing. Oh.
No, you
Okay.
might have to turn it back on, Amy.
Okay. Let me try to do that. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's try now. Does that work now? All right. So go ahead and put yourself on this spectrum. And this could be virtual meetings now or in person, but how much? I see them coming in. So a lot of us looks like spend a lot of time, at least a few hours every day or an hour a day. Some of us maybe a few hours a week, but it seems like a lot of us are spending a lot of times in meetings. So thanks for sharing that, you guys. Hannah, could you erase those, please? All right, so let me ask you another question about meetings. If you guys could erase, great, thanks. how do you feel about those meetings? Obviously, a lot of us are spending a lot of time in meetings, so you can choose more than one of these pictures, but do you feel like you want the meetings to stop like that first picture, and that you feel like you're wasting your time? Or you picture 2, you're happy, you love to be in meetings, you want to be there? Or maybe the t-shirt, you feel like most of your meetings could have been an email? Or maybe down on the bottom, the woman who's got her hands up, you leave meetings confused about what got accomplished or what you're really supposed to do next. So you weren't really clear on the purpose of the meeting. Or maybe the last one, my favorite, the dog, that maybe meetings make you feel sleepy and checked out. So I see the annotations coming in, and people have a variety of feelings about meetings. I'm glad to see that a lot of us are happy to be in meetings. That's awesome. But also it looks like a lot resonating with you. A lot of you feel like maybe we didn't need this meeting. It could have been an email, or you get sleepy and tired. So really appreciate this, you guys. Thank you. Hannah, if you could go ahead and erase those. Thanks. So meetings can be productive or they can be dreadful, right? Or feel like, why am I here? That was a bit of a waste of time. And as evidenced by the comments, your checks on these pictures, a lot of us feel like maybe our meetings aren't as productive as they could be. And in fact, we can feel like we are wasting our time, or we don't understand how the agenda relates to our work, or that sometimes our discussions are circular, right? That we keep rehashing the same old stuff. And that the meetings aren't ending in new understandings or decisions or significant actions. So meetings are a costly form of communication for our organizations. Time is precious, and bringing a lot of folks together is expensive, right? Time is money. So given how many of us feel about meetings, we might be wondering, well, why do we even need meetings? So there's a lot. Meetings do serve a really vital organizational role and are an important tool for leaders in advancing innovative work and problem solving, and importantly, building project teams. So meetings do serve a purpose, and here are some of them, to exchange our ideas, to help us plan, solve problems, make decisions, to build enthusiasm, right? And initiative and camaraderie in our teams, to create a sense of purpose, and also to provide a sense of direction. So, thinking about why do we need them, and sort of what to use a meeting for as opposed to maybe an email. Effective meetings are really all about planning. And I find it's really helpful to think about meeting planning in these 3 stages. Sort of what do I need to do before the meeting? What's good practice, what's effective at the meeting, and then what do I need to do after the meeting to make sure that I'm really getting the most from that time that we've all spent together. So as a leader, right, as you think about maybe your first improvement project team meeting that you're going to be planning, you want to think about, what is the purpose of the meeting, right? You need to have a purpose as well as some ideas of clearly defined outcomes, things you want to make sure you get accomplished, or decisions that you want made. If the meeting if there isn't a clear purpose about why people are there, or what you're trying to kind of ultimately arrive at in the time, folks will be confused, right? So you want to think about, what is the agenda, and preparing that agenda and sending in advance. You need to think about who needs to attend, right? So getting the right people in the room is key to your meeting success, and thinking about what preparation is needed. So like, what information do people need to have before the meeting, right? As much as possible, you want to use your time for discussion and decision making rather than just presenting information. So going back to this idea of thinking about the purpose of the meeting, right? Since knowing and communicating a meeting's purpose in advance is so important, let's take some time to consider how you determine the purpose for your meeting, right? So meetings have different purposes. One is to inform or update participants. Another is to promote discussion, right, in order to understand an issue or to reach a decision and decide sort of next steps and promote action, such as a working meeting even sometimes, and the relationship, the building of that collaboration and relationship building, right? So as you think about the purpose and need to call a meeting, and specifically, I want you to think about your leadership and action project meeting, your improvement project meeting. Think about, as you're thinking about your team, who you need on your improvement project team, and your first meeting or maybe your second meeting if you're already underway, what is the purpose for your next improvement project meeting? So I'd like for you to again read these through and let's annotate. So thinking about the meeting that you need to have with your improvement project team. Is this a new initiative and you want to kind of tap the group thinking, generate enthusiasm, and create a common sense of purpose and mission? Is the goal of the meeting to build a new team? Are you bringing these folks together and you need to kind of create camaraderie? And you could click more than one of these. So in the box on the right, let me know what you think the purpose of your next improvement project team meeting is. So does the project have a lot of variables and you need to get everyone on the same page, or is it a complex issue and you need to kind of just start brainstorming solutions? So what would be the purpose of your improvement project meeting, or purposes? You can click more than one. I see a lot coming in, that it's a new initiative. You want to tap the group thinking, generate enthusiasm, and create a common purpose. I also see that your project has a lot of variables and that you want to get everybody on the same page, right? You want to focus people and bring the team together to understand it, and that it's also potentially a complex issue and you need to do some solutions thinking. So this is great. Great, thank you guys. So these are all great reasons to have a meeting. I do want you, because a lot of times we feel like meetings can be emails, I want to kind of give you a device for thinking about, should this be a meeting or can it be an email, right? So you want to think epic. And these are the kinds of things you want to think about. So when a topic is emotional or potentially like a loaded issue, an email may not be the best, right? So if you think that there may be buy-in or misunderstanding, or this is a big change and some people are going to feel upset or confused, probably a meeting to help clarify and discuss makes sense. Right? Think about how many times have you sent a group email to 5 or 6 people thinking it was a simple email and it started a chain of like 30 replies, right? So that might have been better as a meeting and not an email. You want to think also about purpose. So what will be different as a result of this meeting, right? Remember, meetings help us discuss and make decisions and act and relate in a way that an email can't, right? But if it's something, if you're just updating or sharing information, emails are very helpful in that regard and kind of quick and to the point. Interpersonal, right? Are you looking to build relationships in your team, or is this a new team? Maybe it's a group that's never worked together before and you're trying to lead that team and build trust amongst your team. Or these complex issues again, right? Like, so do you need to coordinate complex processes or develop new plans or procedures where everybody needs to be on the same page and requires some solutions thinking? So as you think about it, should this be a meeting or can this be an email? Those are some think epic and think about, what's the best course in terms of the time spent. The other thing you want to think about when planning is who needs to attend, right? So who are the decision makers and stakeholders that need to inform the conversation? What types of skill sets do you need? So for some of you, your projects include collecting data. And in my group, we talked about, are the data folks in on your improvement project teams? Like, have you thought about inviting them? Or they might have an instructional component. And have you thought enough about inviting teachers or the teacher leaders to be part of your improvement project? So you want to think about, the bigger picture across departments and function areas, if this change is going to impact that work directly, and what kinds of skill set, technical knowledge, and buy-in do you need? You want to definitely aim for the right size. Kind of common wisdom says that up to 8 people is a good size for a meeting so that all voices can be heard. But if anything gets bigger, if any bigger than 8 people, it's kind of hard to arrive at decisions, right? So think about kind of what's that sweet spot for your meeting size. And certainly that you want to prepare people, right? Like, what do they need to understand? They need the agenda, certainly, but what other information do they need to have, background information, so that they can come prepared and aren't reviewing that in your precious time together. As meeting leaders, you want to create and distribute an agenda. And I know we're all, skilled professionals. We've been to a ton of meetings, and you guys are probably, very well versed in creating agenda. But we did want to just share with you some templates in the event that they're helpful for you as you start leading your improvement project team meetings. So this is a structure that we often see, right? For meeting agenda, there's welcomes and introductions, establishing the purpose of the meeting, going over the agenda. Oftentimes you'll do a warm up and an icebreaker, right? To make sure that people know each other, or to focus on a particular point to get the conversation started. Then there may be presentations or updates, but be careful with how much time, again, that you spend on informational items, right? Too many updates and long presentations may not only be boring, but they're also always not necessary, right? Because you can share a lot of that information beforehand and save your time for the important discussion and decisions and Q&A that you need. And then finally, a big piece is this notion of the action items, which you can leave blank when you send the agenda. But this idea that when you leave your meeting, you want to have clear definition of who's doing what when, to make sure that you've kind of moved your thinking and your team to action. So, again, like during the meeting, so that was all the work you did before to get ready. And now when you get to the meeting, just some things to think about in terms of meeting norms and how to run an effective meeting. You definitely want to arrive early, whether it's in Zoom or in person, to get the room or your tech ready, right? And have your supplies on hand and your handouts, whatever you're doing. And don't reward latecomers. Start and end on time. Energize folks, by making them feel comfortable, whether it's through quick icebreakers, some of like what we do, like when we got started, what was your New Year's resolution, or some kind of intros and warm up. You want to use tools to keep the meeting on track, whether that's that you're establishing meeting norms, which we're going to look at in a minute, or using a parking lot, to put questions that may not be central to the discussion somewhere to keep track of them, but not to kind of distract from the main talking points that you're trying to cover. And you can keep a timer going, right? So that sort of how much time you can devote. You definitely want to ensure full participation. And we're going to look at some techniques in a minute to help with that, whether that be sitting at a round table, doing pair ups, reducing your own speaking time, right? Or question making. And you want to definitely take minutes, summarize those action items, and end the meeting on time. So part of running kind of a meeting that's effective and ensures full participation is helping to set meeting norms, right? And you can set these with your team, let's say your improvement project team, and then they will over time, begin to understand, oh, this is how the meetings in our improvement project work, and feel comfortable within them. So let's look at how some leaders kind of set meeting norms. So for homework, we asked you to take a look at the pre-reading and do the pre-reading on advancing your meeting conversation with norms article. And Olga, thank you. Olga just posted the link in the chat if you hadn't already had a chance to read it or you need to have access to it again. Norms are really the ground rules for how a team collaborates and can really help us and help as we establish a new working group like our improvement project team, or just to kind of make our meetings more productive and effective. And how do we understand and act and interact and work with others? So norms are useful in a variety of collaborative settings. And what I want to do now is just take 2 minutes, go ahead and click on that link or pull out the article. I want you to take 2 minutes to look through the article again and just highlight or take notes on a few of the meeting norms that stand out for you that you might like to use in your meetings. So I'm going to just be quiet for a minute and let you take a look at that again and try to highlight a few that you would like to use or that stand out for you. And when you're ready, go ahead and post the one that you're most excited about trying out in the chat. Tell us which of those norms you want to try by typing it in the chat. Thank you, Jody, for kicking us off. I see some of you are definitely excited about the all voices count, or, you know, making sure that you're putting norms into place where everybody can be heard. Tiffany, I like that. Looking ahead to positive action, not back on shoulda, woulda, coulda. Right. Sticking to the topic and putting other topics on the back burner. Yep. Decision-making norms, separating, Maria says, your own personal feelings from what's best for the team, right? Kachan says, balance your participation, speak and listen. Armando, being willing to support a team consensus, even if you initially don't agree with it. Okay, Armando. Great. Mary, you said challenge past assumptions and sacred cows. Can you come on and just tell us briefly why you picked that one, or what your thinking was?
Well, I think that a lot of times it's, you know, we tried that before, or we can't do that. One of the, you know, I'm just always, and I think maybe because I'm fairly new in the role that I'm in, I'm always just asking, well, why can't we do that? You know, a lot of times we assume that we can't do something, and then when we really look into it, well, we really can do that, you know, or,
Yeah.
you know, we may think it's like a rule or something that we can't do.
Right.
And we can. So it's just, I'm always kind of challenging the status quo.
I really appreciate that. And I also appreciate, I think part of what you're getting at here is just asking questions, right? So kind of instead of just assuming, right, that things are the way they always have been, like asking more about why, or, you know, what would it take? So I really appreciate that. These are all great, you guys. Aim for get go. Nice. Excellent, you guys. Really appreciate that. So just quickly, once you've kind of had this very inclusive meeting that you guys are all looking toward with these new norms, after the meeting, you want to send some brief minutes. You don't have to record everything everybody said, but the most important thing are those action items, right? And as the leader, you probably are going to have to follow up with individuals sometimes, right? Are they on track? Do they need support to get done whatever that action item was? And are there additional resources that are going to be needed or roadblocks, before, so that you are making sure that those action items are moving ahead so that when you meet again, you're not doing that circular discussion or thinking because nothing's been done between those meetings, right? And just in your handout packet, everything we just kind of covered about, what you do before the meeting, at the meeting, and after the meeting is on handout 6. It's a little checklist. So to help you kind of think about planning your leadership improvement meetings. All right. I see that we're already at time. So just very quickly, I want to just go over a reminder of what happens next. As Hannah said, you're going to post your first initial draft project plan in the portal by January 21st, and we can all look at each other's and give feedback and advice. We're going to meet again in smaller groups to talk more deeply about our projects on February 16th or 17th. And you will have the opportunity to sign up for one of those 2 meetings, either the one on the 16th or the 17th in the portal. At that meeting, you'll be presenting those 3 draft slides, which you're also going to need to post by February 11th. And don't worry, we'll send all this information again to you, so you don't need to memorize this right now. Before we get together again for our virtual session in February, you're going to do some pre-reading. And also just a reminder that we do have our Precipio assignments as well. Some of you have been emailing us about that. The first one was due on the 31st of December, and the second one will be due on February 28th. And if you have questions about those Precipio assignments, you can email us or Deb Hargrove directly if you have any questions. So I know that we're over time, and I appreciate you guys hanging on there. Please make sure to complete the evaluation in the PD portal when you log in for today. And we're really excited to see you again on February 2nd, and we will be in touch again soon. Thank you so much, you guys, and happy 2022. Yes, Todd, I didn't end on time. I'm a bad role model for you guys. All right. Thank you all so much, and Happy New Year again.